chemo. Long time no see. Look, do you know what the main thing is, genuinely, that I use Instagram and I use the Insta stories. I put things that are happening online, I put them on the Insta stories, but you know the way that that's only for 24 hours, like you won't see that now. So when things are happening, you know, chemo day or going to the hospital for something, or it's a bad day or side effects of chemo or something like that, then I do put it online. I do make videos, but I put it on Insta stories. And then I feel like I have told everyone, but not everybody uses Insta stories. So you are due a major update now. Okay, by the way, I was dressed earlier today, but I put pajamas back on because, you know, are these the same pajamas I was wearing in the last video? Yeah, because I've just remembered that's what I said the last time. It's comfy, it's comfy. Okay, so first thing is the chemo update. Now, I actually don't remember what I said the last time I was talking to you, so I'm gonna just tell you how it's going now. So I'm on Taxol. I've had 3 Taxols so far, and the 4th one, which is also my last chemo, is next week. What else? So during the 2nd Taxol, I had a reaction, and during the 3rd Taxol, I had a reaction as well. So the way that Taxol is administered is very slowly. You know, it's a bag. It's administered intravenously, you know, through the vein. Bag is 500 mils. So when it first starts, it's for 20 minutes, 20 mils an hour, and it goes up by 20 mils every 20 minutes up until 250 mils. So I went 20 mils, 40 mils, 60 mils, and at 60 mils on both the 2nd and the 3rd infusion, I had this reaction. So the reaction for me was this shooting pain in my spine, and then it just felt like my whole spine was going into spasms. The first time I actually had got up to go to the toilet, you know, you just unplug it from the socket in the wall, and then just, you know, you can wheel your trolley along if you want to go somewhere. Well, not if you want to go somewhere. It's really only if you want to go to the toilet. I mean, you can't go to the shop when you're when you're doing your chemo or something like that. Yeah, so I went to the toilet, and just as I was about, you know, my legs were in squat position, ready to sit on the toilet seat, and that's what had happened. So and then I couldn't wee. So I had a full bladder, this awful thing was happening, and then I was really slowly, Noel was with me then, really slowly making my way back, and then, you know, as soon as I got in, and a nurse saw me, she knew I was having a reaction, so they sorted it out. They sorted it out very quickly. They sorted out the pain and everything stops within 20 minutes. Then they leave you for half an hour, and then they start all over again. So it takes a really long time. Some people have much worse reactions than that, and you know, I won't say anything to scare you in case you're going to be on Taxol, because I mean, it's not that common. Don't worry about it. You're in a hospital. It's the best place to have any kind of reaction. They're gonna save you no matter what. Okay, so well, that's a promise I can't keep, but oh my gosh, maybe I should just shut up. The thing about the Taxol is that they, for the first 2 sessions, would do it really slowly like that, and if you didn't have any reactions, then they would give it to you in an hour on the 3rd one. So for me, it takes pretty much all day to get chemo, but they can speed it up if you don't have a reaction, and most people get it speeded up. You probably won't have a reaction, so don't worry about it. Okay, so that is how actual getting chemo is going. So side effects after you have the chemo on the Taxol. So this time I wrote it down because I always forget. Because it's only bad on those days, you know, just when you're feeling it then, and then you just forget about it afterwards. I had the chemo on the Thursday. You know, I'm tired after the day in the hospital, go home, go to bed, eat, go to bed. The next day, I was tired by 12 o'clock, so by midday. I also felt slightly nauseous, so it's only slightly, and when I take the anti-sickness, it goes away. And it comes back and I take another one and it goes away. So it's completely manageable, and it's really only a tiny bit. The main thing that I feel the next day is my stomach is really sore. It feels really irritated. It's like the lining of the stomach is being irritated or something. So that's a strange one. It's just this really sore kind of burning pain in your stomach. And I forget about that every time. And it's only that I wrote it down this time. Otherwise I would not have told you about it. On day 2, this time. Now this is obviously not something that's gonna happen. It might never happen to anybody again. And it's certainly not gonna happen to you just because you're on Taxol. But because my immune system was so low, I got an infection. I got an eye infection. This is how it went. It was Friday. It was 7:30 in the evening and it started to kind of water a bit. If you saw me on Instagram, it looked like it was this eye, but it's because the camera is flipped. But it was actually this eye. It started to water a bit at that time. And by, what was it? An hour later, it was completely swollen. And then I woke up at 2:45 in the morning and it had completely swollen closed. And it wasn't even, you know the way sometimes you get that sticky eye and it kind of sticks together? So I mean, it had obviously done that, but even once I unstuck it, my eye would not open. It was that swollen. Next morning, it was Saturday morning, I went to the out of hours doctor. Went straight in. I was seen straight away because you know you can't sit with other patients when you're on chemo, other sick people. I went straight in anyway, and do you know what, actually, this is really funny. She didn't come anywhere near me. I must have looked so diseased. Anyway, she just said, I was gonna give you fucithalmic, but I see it's actually extremely aggressive, so I'm gonna give you the other one, claramycetin. You know, I'd had both of them before. I've had conjunctivitis so many times. But yeah, I took the drops and straight away. I mean, the pharmacy wasn't open at that time, so she gave me a single dose of it. So I took that, and then even within an hour or so, the swelling had started to reduce. And I mean, that evening, it really wasn't that swollen at all. And the next day, I don't really think that, maybe you could tell, but it wasn't that bad at all. I mean, I could open my eyes, so it was fine. Also on that day, on the Saturday, was just more of those stomach cramps and that kind of burning feeling in my stomach. Yeah, so Saturday evening then the bone and joint pain started. Sunday it kind of intensified. Monday was bad again, and then Tuesday was my worst day with the bone pain. And then Tuesday evening I actually said to Noel, the pain is actually excruciating. I hadn't come to that point before. I would have never given the pain a 10 out of 10. I would have maybe stayed around 6 or 7. Yeah, no, it was pretty full on. And I had a hospital appointment the next day, so I was saying I don't even think I can drive. Mainly just because I didn't think that I'd be able to keep pushing my foot on the clutch. But I was actually okay the next day to drive. You know, I think that the Tuesday evening was the peak, and then it kind of started to die off, and you know, I only feel a little bit now and again of those pains. So the neuropathy. The neuropathy is a pain in the hoop. The strange kind of sensations, or you know, maybe lack of sensation in your hands and in your feet. My feet are particularly bad at the moment. What it is like is as if you had a big basin of ice cubes and somebody stuck your feet into that basin and held them in there for a period of time. Can you imagine that feeling? That's the feeling. It's kind of like pins and needles. It's kind of like numbness. It's kind of like burning. It's kind of like they're really cold. It's really hard to describe, but that is the feeling. And then in your hands as well. The thing about it in my hands is, you know, things like these kind of things, okay? If this lid was closed, I can't pull it up. I can't explain why. It's a mixture of not knowing whether or not I am actually pulling it, and then also that it hurts to put that much pressure on something. And then the same with opening things like this. I can't open them, you know? It's weird. But I know one of the things that they ask in the hospital is if you can do up your buttons. And I mean, I don't wear button-down shirts, so I actually don't know the answer to that question, but I'm pretty sure if I did have buttons, I'd be able to do them. Would I? I have no idea. I feel like I would. So I think, you know, it's not that bad. This week I went for my ultrasound and mammogram. The ultrasound and mammogram are actually for my surgeon, which is the thing that I'm going to talk about in a different video. But the reason for doing the ultrasound and the mammogram was to see the response, my response to chemo. I knew that I had a response because when I feel the lumps, I can feel them much, much smaller. And actually I did a vlog this week before I ever did the scan, and I had said that in one area I could barely even feel it, and I wondered if I was imagining that I was feeling it, but it is actually just that it is that small. One of them has shrunk to 0.4 centimeters and the other one has shrunk to 0.6, I think. They're tiny. It's so small. I don't know what my pathological response is, obviously, because I've not yet had surgery, so they can't examine anything. But the response from the scans is great. The only thing is that, and I didn't realize this, I obviously didn't realize this because I've never spoken about this before, is that I actually have 2 different types of cancer in the breast, and I didn't know. So although the response has been great with the chemo, the second type, which is the DCIS, so the ductal carcinoma in situ, or inside you, as Noel says, that one appears to have grown because there's 9 centimeters of that now. I always knew I was going to get a mastectomy. I just didn't know why. Now I know why. The chemo response has been great, but it doesn't have any effect on the other type of cancer. So, but I needed to do the chemo because of the invasive cancer. I mean, one of the things is that the scans show, I can't say too much because I don't want it to be misleading what I say, but basically the lymph nodes, so the underarm, the axilla lymph nodes, have shown on the scans to have had a response to the chemo as well, which is good news. And I can't tell you how much I want that to be correct pathologically as well. If ever you are wondering whether or not you should be doing the chemo, let me be an example to you that you should. Sorry. To have been a few months ago in a position where something was spreading quite rapidly and had gone to lymph nodes, and if left much longer could have ultimately resulted in me dying. Had such a good response to the chemo is just, I mean, I was gonna say, what more could you ask for? I mean, obviously you'd love to see no evidence of disease, but yes, do the chemo. You know, if you're doing chemo and you're finding it really difficult and you're wondering, can I keep doing this? Can I handle this? I wonder if maybe you can ask for a scan to show how effective it is, you know, because if you can actually see that it is effective, it's gonna make it all worthwhile, you know. I'm gonna go, and I'll talk to you soon about the other stuff. So far so good. Everything is on track, and yeah, that's the update. I feel like this is really all over the place, and I hope that this video is gonna end up making sense, because that's why I haven't made one in so long. There's just so many things going on. If you use Instagram, find me there. You can search D Doherty and I'm the one with the bald head. And Labelle Mama is my handle on it, because it's from when I had the old beauty blog, do you know? Goodbye. I'll talk to you in my next one. Okay, I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.